Many of you are familiar with the story that God wants to send Moshe to Pharaoh to let him know that he needs to let the Jewish people go. Moshe tells God, I'm the wrong person for the job. I'm not a good communicator. I don't speak well. And God said, don't worry, I'm going to send Aaron together with you, your brother, so that he can communicate to Pharaoh on our behalf. Moshe says, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to go and you're going to open up the dialogue by telling Pharaoh exactly the words that I'm telling you. And then Aaron will translate, communicate, and elaborate on those words. So Moshe is thinking, so what am I going for? I'm going to be speaking to Pharaoh in a language, the Hebrew language, a language he doesn't understand. Why do I need to go at all? Just send Aaron on his own. And the reason was because God wanted Moshe to do something that Aaron could not do. He wanted Moshe to show up, be defiant, and stand confidently before Pharaoh so that he can begin to plant doubt and confusion within Pharaoh so that he no longer thinks that he's omnipotent and no one can challenge him. You see, Egypt was a superpower, and at its head was King Pharaoh. No one had ever challenged Egypt. No one had dared to speak up against Pharaoh. And here comes along Moshe, no less, coming into Pharaoh, into his palace, unafraid, speaking a language he doesn't understand. And when Pharaoh looks at him and says, no, he says, wait, my brother will translate. That must have shaken Pharaoh at the core. Nobody's ever done this to me before. What's the lesson for us? The lesson is that we too, we have our Moshe, the person that we are much of the time, and the person that we believe we should be all the time. But we also have our inner demon. We have our Pharaoh, who sometimes wants us to behave and sometimes unfortunately succeeds in having us behave in a way that we're not proud of. Whether it's acts between us and God or acts between us and another fellow human person. How do we deal with this inner demon? How do we deal with this inner Pharaoh? Do we start to rationalize? Do we try logic on this Yetzer Hara, this evil inclination of ours? And the answer is no. Don't do that at all. Just shut it down. Just like when Moshe came to Pharaoh and he showed up, spoke a language he did not comprehend, but it was enough to take away some of the confidence of Pharaoh to begin the process where he slowly began to understand that he's not the only boss in town. You know, how do you get rid of a telemarketer that wants to sell you a credit card? Do you start telling them that you have the best credit cards in the world? The best way is to tell them, I don't have credit cards. I don't pay my credit cards. Whatever it is that you tell them, you shut them down from the get-go. Because whatever excuse you might have why you don't want their credit card, they'll have a better one. When it comes to our inner demons, we have to know they're simply not who we are. It's just a testing battleground that God offers us so that we can become even more secure and know truly that under any circumstances, we will remain true and loyal to the people we'd love to be. So the next time you doubt who you really are, know that you are truly a godly soul who's very much attached to God and is cherished by God. And all the other voices in your head, don't let those doubts ever materialize to anything bigger. Because doubts are like shadows. They only exist when there's a little darkness intermingled with light. And so get rid of those doubts by adding a little bit more light and dismissing them, because that's not who you are. Not even for a moment. It's a facade. It's a moment of insanity. What you are is a cherished child of God who really, truly always wants to do the right thing. Have an amazing day.